Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Long from Sew a Story, and today I am teaching you how to sew the brand new pattern, the fully lined bat wing treat bag. Won't you come in and join me? Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Long from Sew a Story. I am an early childhood educator turned Riley Lake fabric designer, and I love everything fabric, fabric crafts, and quilts, all that are fun and whimsical. In Sew a Story, we have two memberships. One is a pattern club where we give two patterns away every single month inside that membership, all for less than the cost of one pattern. And the other one is a machine embroidery modern rag doll membership where we focus on machine embroidery doll patterns and all of the different professional rag doll making tips and tricks. That membership is open up quarterly. Okay, so this pattern is the craft featured pattern of the month inside the Sew a Story Pattern Club. It is a fully lined bat wing treat bag. You can take it trick-or-treating with you and put candies in there. You can put it on your table center. You can put it on your island or on your coffee table and put lovely snacks in there. And you can even have it in your office and have all of the wonderful little knickknacks that you might want to have inside of this. It holds its shape really well through a few secret little stabilizers, which we will talk about. And you can get the pattern, like I said, in the Sew a Story shop, or you can grab it in the membership. If you are a member, make sure you download the Batwing Treat Bag pattern. It's the craft pattern of the month at sewastory.com. If you aren't a member, I would highly suggest you join. You get this pattern and this Littlest Ghost quilt pattern this month. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to be using my fabric collection that I designed for Riley Lake Designs. It's called Little Witch, and there's a lot of wonderful different SKUs in this collection. This collection is just a nod to the little witches that are all in the fairy tales that we grew up with and that we know and love. So it's not a scary witch at all. And it has lots of different whimsical and storytelling prints in there, from 5 little pumpkins sitting on the gate stripe to the witch's stockings and her boots and all kinds of different patterns, even as spider dots in these wonderful little jewel tones that you can see here as well. The sample pattern that I made is using the magenta spider dot, so you can see the cute little spiders on there. And inside is the witch's lace. Let's see if I can get you to see that. Oh yeah, look at that. It's quite adorable. And then the black witch's lace for the wings here. The sample we're going to make today, I'm going to do it as an orange bat, and I've already pre-cut a lot of my shapes out here. So again, I'm using the orange spider dot. Looks like that. I'm going to use the witch's stockings for inside of the legs. And then I'm going to use that same black lace for the wings. So I've gone ahead and prepared, but I do want to talk you through how I prepared some of those pieces. So one of the tricks that I like to use when I'm making children's or just decoration bags that need a lot of support is something called fusible fleece. I use this product. It is a ThermoWeb product, and I just love it because you don't necessarily have to quilt your project. Of course you can quilt your project, but you do not have to quilt it. So you would fuse the back, just follow the manufacturer's directions, fuse it all, and then cut your pieces out. You'll cut your template pieces out. They'll look like this. You're going to end up having 4 in that size and shape. So 4 that look like this. And then 2 that look like this. They have little points. And then you'll use another product for applique, and it is called just like Light Sewable Heat and Bond. And that is just like a raw edge applique. If you don't know how to do raw edge applique or trace it, or you want a little bit more, just search a tutorial. We'll put a link down below as well for that raw edge applique tutorial. And you're going to do just the little ears, the insides of the ears. I finished mine with a cute little blanket stitch on them. And you're gonna also do the same thing for the little nose and cheeks and teeth. And then I just did some hand embroidery for the facial features. You can trace them directly from the pattern, or you can be creative and make your own. Next, you're going to do the same techniques that we just talked about with this fusible fleece and make these wings. But just look how great they stand. Look how wonderful they stand on their own. And that is because of that power of fusible fleece on one side. Then we just flip it and turn it through the opening, and I've stitched it down so you can see the veins of the wings. So I have prepared wings. I've gone ahead and prepared the lining in the same technique that I'm going to show you here. So let's just walk through the technique that I'm going to show you on how to piece this together. It is quick and easy, including a little handle that we've also already folded and prepped that also has that same fusible fleece inside of it. All right, so come on in and let's get started. All right, so let's get started. As I mentioned, I did take my outer fabric and I fused it with that fusible fleece, following the manufacturer's directions, and then I cut out my template pieces. I have 4 pieces cut out in this shape, in the main body shape, and then I just have 2 pieces in the ear shape that look like this. I'm going to take 1 mane and 2 ears, and I am going to sew them together following that corner and lining them up to this way. So I'm going to take them side by face to face, and I'm going to pin them together. And then I'm going to take them to my sewing machine and sew them a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I will be back and I'll show you how we're going to trim them. But first I just want to show you me pinning both of the shapes on both sides. All right, so it looks like this on this side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Starting at that tip. When I get to the corner, I am going to cross it over. So I do want to make sure that my 1/4 inch seam allowance always kind of makes like an X at the end. So it's securing that point. So this is just what I want to show you here. Good. So once we have that one coming right to the tip and to the point, once that one's sewn, we're going to do the same thing and come right over to the tip and the point here. So you're going to end up with a 3-point. I'm going to take that one over and sew it. But before I do that, I'm also, because I like to just sit on my machine at once, I'm going to sew these, pin and sew these 3 together as well. So this is the back of my bat wing treat bag. And I'm going to do the same thing again and pin on either side all the way around. So you're going to have like the front facing happening with the 3 panels and the back facing happening with the 3 panels. Good. And the second side. And just coming right along. In my opinion, you can never have too many pins, then things won't shift around, but I just love sewing with fabric, cotton fabric that's fused with fusible fleece, because it holds so great. So I'll go take that to my sewing machine, do a 1/4 inch seam on both of these pieces on all of the edges, and I'll be back to show you next steps. Okay, perfect. So I have sewn them both together. They look like this. What I am going to do now is I'm going to trim off any extra threads that I have, and then because it's a curved piece, I am going to snip inside the seam allowance so that when it pushes out, it is a nice round, great shape. I also just want to show you how I have this point here. So I do have the seam pressed open so it's flat. The next one I will obviously press open as well so it keeps crossing over, but it is crossed over and it does have that X and a 1/4 inch seam allowance there. So I've done my clips on this side. I'm going to do them also there. You can, in addition, just trim off some of that bulk because there will end up being 6 pieces inside that. Okay, and I'm going to snip all the way along here. Be very, very careful that you don't cut into your seam. I know I'm going quickly, but I do a lot of doll work as well. So I'm used to making like tons and tons of little cuts all around the perimeter of a doll and in legs so that it turns really good. So I feel pretty confident. Of course, I have had to re-sew things sometimes, so that's the downside of going fast. But
you do just want to make sure that you're not having to redo any of your work. And I have that clipped off. Great. Okay, so this is what my back looks like. And this is what my front looks like. Oh, look how darling it is already. Yay! All right, so now I'm going to take the wings. You can measure the wings from the base up. I'm going to use my mat to do that. And I just want them to be in a nice even spot. So I'm going to take half here and fold it up. There is no right or wrong spot to put it in there, but I do want it at the half mark. So that is going to be on my mat for my pieces. That is, here it is, 5.5. Okay, so 5.5. I'm going to put my little prepared wing right in here, straight out. So I'm going to line that up straight with the seam. I'm going to pin it on this side. And then I'm going to do not just a basting stitch, but I'm going to do like a nice regular stitch, but only at 1/8 of an inch. So it's going to be in the seam allowance. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side exactly in the same spot. So I'm going to fold it over, make sure that I get the bottom and the top in the exact same spot. Going to mark and hold where that bottom goes. You can also use that measuring again. Just check it out, 5.5. Perfect, and I have that in there. And then I'm going to take it back again. And so those at 1/8 of an inch, and I will be right back. Okay, ta-dum! So I have it, both wings are sewn in there, so they're going to look like this when they're open, but I want to keep them tucked in. I'm going to take the backing and I am going to flip it. Now I actually didn't trim over here, so I want to make sure that I do that as well. Oh, no, I did. Oh, thank you, Pastor Jennifer. Good job. So I'm going to flip this around. So it is going to be right sides together. And since this is the only meeting point here, I'm actually going to take a pin and make sure it's pinned there. Now you don't have to have your seams open, but there is a ton of bulk happening. So especially with the fusible fleece, I do like to open up my seams there. Okay, so I've got that anchored in the right spot. And then I'm just going to take my pin around, and I'm going to just follow that same curve all the way around, making sure that I do catch this 1/8 inch seam of the bat wing that's inside. Oh, this is so fun, and it's coming together so quickly already. Good, and then you can see you want to match it up at the top. And I'll just do one more here, and I'm going to repeat the pinning on this side. Good. So take that right there and pin. Well, wouldn't this be just adorable? Now, what is it called? What is it called when you have, maybe you can tell me in the comments, when there's like a whole bunch of bats? That's not like a flock of bats, is it? I better look into that anyways, but I know it's like a murder of crows. All right, tell me if you know what it is when we have lots of bats, but I want to make lots of bat wing treat bags. So I have it there. I'm going to actually start on one side. I'm going to sew all the way around, continue through this area and come around. One thing I do want to mention is that especially when I'm making something that's going to possibly carry a lot of Halloween treats in there or something heavy, I do want to shorten my seam length. I want to make sure I'm using at least a 2.5, if not a 2 millimeter stitch length to go all the way around. Still my 1/4 inch seam allowance, but I do want to have it nice and tight so there's a lot of pressure on it. All right, I'll take that to machine and I'll be right back. All right, so here we go. We have, I've sewn all the way around, and now I'm just going to continue what I was doing before and do my 1/4 inch, my snips into my 1/4 inch seam allowance here all the way around. Just going to ease up a little bit here. Good. Now, let's be honest and real. This is a great time to check. Look, I caught kind of the fabric, but not all of it. And if you can see that, so I'm going to actually take it back to my machine and I'm going to fix that so that I make sure I catch it. It's really important before you get to all of the steps that you do, just check. So obviously my pin shifted a little bit, and that's okay. We are human, and this is what we are doing. That's good on this side, but I'm going to fix it on this side, and I'll be right back. Do you love that? Okay, so there you go. See, it was down over inside of here and I fixed it. So I'm just gonna cut into that seam. All right, and I'm going to leave it like that. So if I open up this batwing treat bag, you can see that I have the 2 bat wings in there. This is the outer shell and it's looking really great, all just like this. I'm going to take the prepared handle next and I'm going to put it inside, and I'm going to put the seam towards the back end. So the ears are at the front end. I'm going to put it towards the back end. I'm going to open up my seams just to reduce some bulk, and I'm going to put it right kind of in line with that ear. So I don't want it to like overlap on the ear like this, obviously. I'm going to put it right in line with that ear, and I'm going to stitch it down the same way that I did the wings at that 1/8 inch. Make sure that it's straight and not twisted, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Open that up and have it in lined there. Pin in place, and I'm going to just tack those down with a seam allowance, and again I will be right back. So now I fully understand that this tack down step here, this 1/8 of an inch, is not necessary. You can pin it and then put your lining in, but the chances of things moving just like it did for me here in real time is just greater and higher. And when you're doing this much work, I just don't want to take that extra chance. So this is such a quick and easy little tack down, and it makes sure that there's absolutely no shifting that happens. Okay, so you can see this is already holding great shape. I'm just going to put it off to the side for a second, and I have prepared the lining. So the lining is just completely the same, but it's in the lining fabric, and I have left at the back a hole. So this hole is at least, like, it looks like 4 inches. I left it open there. I've backed back and forward on both sides so we don't rip it, but this is the way that we are going to turn it inside out. So all we have to do now is take the lining right sides together with the batwing treat bag, and I'm just going to match all my seams to start. So I am going to, this is my front piece. I am going to open up my seams. Like I said, you don't have to do this, but I do like to do it. I'm going to open up my seams and I'm going to pin them in place just like this. And I'm going to just go all the way around the whole bag. And first I'm going to do a pin inside everything, but I want to make sure that all my seams are matching. I am going to just make sure that my point is matching as well here too. So I'm going to take a pin at the point. For this last step, this is almost the last step. To me, it's worth it to take this extra time to pin so that everything is fully aligned. There's no odd gathers. You can see here on my sample how just like nice and smooth and all of the edges are for finishing. So we want that to be the case. For this is the top where we're showcasing our little bat, and he's going to be just eating up all of the treats. So yeah, so let's just keep going around and pinning. While we're doing this, I'd love for you to tell me in the comments of this video if you've sewn a lot of bags before, if you're new to bags, have they ever intimidated you. This month at the Sew a Story Pattern Club, we are doing curved pieces. So the quilt that you saw behind me at the beginning, which is also the quilt pattern that you get for the Sew a Story Pattern Club, it's called Littlest Ghost, and it has curved piecing. And in that video, if you haven't watched it yet, I am demystifying curved piecing. So there is also curved piecing on this, and it's really nothing to be afraid of. Okay, so you can see the lining is facing there. I'm going to go ahead and do a pin in between every piece now while we're chatting. So I just don't want any of that shifting to happen. I'm going to do one on either side, here and here. Yeah, so I don't want you to be afraid. This is definitely confident beginner friendly, all of these projects. It's really just getting the seam into your machine in a straight manner So just if you've pinned it, then you just keep your 1/4 inch seam and everything lines up. You just trust the pattern process. If you know anything about me, you know that I manage the pattern department at Riley Blake Designs. Patterns are my passion. And so yes, I just want to make sure that I always have great templates and great patterns. So ta-dum. Now we're going to go in. I'm going to actually start at the back so I don't have a finishing here. Very important that you do have that shortened seam length and that you are catching all the layers. So we're going to come back and do a check once I've sewn everything together, but I'm going to take the arm off my machine so I can slide this in. Sorry, I'm going to take the table off my machine so can slide my arm into the machine, and I'm going to start at the center back. I'm going to go back and forth, keep my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I've already pinned them so they're open. And I'm going to make sure I've catched everything, pin down, rotate, and come up here, pin my needle down, rotate, and come through here, and go all the way around the whole perimeter. You don't need to leave an opening because we did inside, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to check this with you in real time, so we'll see what a job I did. I did a 1/4 inch seam allowance starting at the back all the way around. I was inside my 1/8 inch seam allowance, kept my seam open, rotated here. Okay, so far so good. All the way up, that's good. And to the back. Now I'm going to do the same check on the inside to make sure I've caught all the layers. Yes, good job, Jennifer. If you haven't, this is the time to fix it. And again, no worries about that. A few things, we're going to go around and trim, but there's a few things extra that I want you to do here. This is a lot of bulk to happen inside this point, so don't go super close, but I do want you to trim off that extra bulk on both ears, so you don't need all of that extra in there. Great. And then at these points where it connects in here, I want you just to cut out like a little triangle about halfway, just so that it's not so heavy inside there. I'm going to do it on actually both sides of the ears because this is a seam and there is the handle here on this inside. Good. So I'm going to just cut out some of that bulk and this one here as well. Just cut out some of that seam bulk. Good. Now I'm going to go around. Most of this is pretty straight, but it doesn't hurt just to give it a little lightness to it as you're going around. Again, be very careful that you don't trim your seam. And I'm just going to take that all the way around. Oh, this is the best part. So I don't know if you join me for dolls or not, or if you have an embroidery machine or if you're a doll maker, but if you are, this is the best part, is like the big reveal. So I think of bags just like I think of dolls, is that this is like all of your hard work coming together. So here is the hole, and all we have to do is turn it. I'm going to turn it by hand to start, and then I'm going to grab one of my very favorite tools and show you what I do with that. So let's just work this lining inside itself. Good. And then keep working this bag through itself. Good. Oh my goodness, it's so cute already, I can tell. Okay, so I'm going to keep pushing it out. All right, so it's going to look like this, kind of like two cones. Okay, like this with some wings coming out. That's perfect. This lining is going to push inside of this bag. So it's going to be pushing inside like this. You can press it if you want to, but I'm just going to push it first to get it nice and formed and show you how it's working. If you need to push anything else out, you can use, I have a pair of hemostats. This is actually a pair of hemostats with Sew a Story on it. I designed them for Riley Blake Designs. You can put that through the opening, and I just like to sort of push out any of my seams. You can also use like a point turner in here. So especially on these ears, I'm going to do it for the ears for sure. So I'm going to take that and just push through on the ears and just make sure that they come out. And the other cute little ear. Oh, here it comes. And then take the end, just keeping it closed, and give it a little push. All right. So as you can see on this sample one, I didn't do a seam around, and you really don't. You're going to want to do a whip stitch and close up that whole opening at the back, but you can just take this to your iron. Look how nice this is. Oh my goodness, already. Yay, yay. Look at this. Yay, look at the handle in there. So you're just going to keep pressing it and working it. And before you know it, you're going to have a second bat wing treat bag. So we're going to press that and we'll end up with 2. How fun is that?
Thank you so much for being here. It is so much fun to sew together, to sew a story together, and really just to create memories from our hands, from our creations, and from fabric. I love creating fabric crafts and quilt patterns with you. I'm so grateful for you being here. If you are a shop and you're carrying Little Witch fabric, please feel welcome to comment below. If you have this pattern and you are kitting one of my trick-or-treat bag patterns or this little batwing trick-or-treat, please let us know as well, and I'm happy to send people towards you. If you are watching this as a Sew a Story Pattern Club member, please do share, use the hashtag, and if you aren't a member, I'd like to invite you in to come on in and become a member, because we do this every month. We create fun and inspiration through sewing. You'll learn new techniques, you'll hone new skills, and you'll just inspire your creativity as well. So I'm so happy to have you here. Click on any of the links below. You can get the links down below for the Sew a Story Pattern Club, and make sure you're on the newsletter, because we just email you once a week with tons of inspiration and fun. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I can't wait to see your bat wing trick-or-treat bag. Thanks for joining me today. See you again soon. Bye for now.